If you are working in QlikSense desktop, the application exists on your local machine. In order to demonstrate a data load in this environment, we will close this welcome screen and view the desktop hub. After we click the button to create a new app and provide a name for that app, like Data Load Tutorial, we can click the Create button and open the app. We will click the Add Data from Files and Other Sources tile. In this environment, when data is handled locally, we can click on My Computer and navigate to the location of the example file in our Windows directory. And we can select the file titled singledatatable.xlsx. Once clicked upon, a preview of the data table is presented, and we can click the Next button to complete the process. Because we have loaded only a single data table, the data load is completed, and we can begin to consider building visualizations. However, what if our data model included more than one data table? Let's proceed to the Data Manager button on the Quick Access menu in order to change our view to the Data Manager. When the data model is presented, you will see that we have loaded only a single table into this app, and that table is represented by a bubble. We could use the Add Data button here in the Data Manager view. However, another option is to use the navigation menu to open the Data Load Editor view in a new tab. So we can use the approach of loading data using the Script Editor workflow path. Notice that there are currently two sections here in the Data Load Editor view. The main section contains statements which define formatting options within the app. The auto-generated section was created when we loaded data using the Add Data from Files and Other Sources option. Let's click the plus symbol to create a new section, then drag this section to appear above the auto-generated section. Now we can use the existing data connection to add another table to the app. This will launch a dialog which allows us to navigate to the file of interest, products.txt. Then click the Select button. We can review the preview of the table and the data load script, and click the button to insert the script. Once the load script for the products data table is visible in this dialog, we can click the Load Data button to complete the process. This data table has been added successfully. When we click Close, and close this tab in order to return to the tab with the Data Manager view, you can see that another bubble representing the products table has been added to the view. Let's add another data source to this app which contains multiple data tables. We can click the plus symbol in the Data Manager view to add more data. From this familiar screen, which was encountered during the Add Data from Files and Other Sources workflow path, we can click on My Computer and navigate to the location of the downloaded example files for this module. Clicking on the file titled multipledatatables.xlsx results in this view. Here, each table in the Excel workbook is listed, and we can check the boxes next to all of the tables before clicking on the Next button. Now that there are multiple data tables in the QlikSense environment, we are required to indicate which tables should be associated to create our data model. But first, we need to consider that the bubble representing the products table was added using the Script Editor workflow, not the Add Data workflow. In order to use the Data Manager features, we will need to synchronize scripted tables. Now the Recommended Associations panel presents a list of associations which have been recommended based upon an examination of field names and field contents in an attempt to correctly identify key fields to associate data tables. In this example, clicking the Apply All button will associate the tables correctly to form the data model supplied by this data source. The final step of the data load process is to click on the Load Data button. Now we have a complete data model which we can use to develop visualizations, and you understand the general process for loading data into a QlikSense app. This represents the end